So in today's video, we're going to be covering how to make a swinging door. With that being said, what we're going to do is we're just going to find like a default like vanilla door that we can copy as like a template kinda. So what I'm going to do is I've already got one exported. I'll show you the name in a second. It should be this one. You can just copy the name and search it yourself and then just export it. But once you have it imported, you'll see that there's the bound box, which is a collision, the drawable, which is the topmost part, and then the drawable model. And on this drawable model, under the object constraints, we have a child of constraint set to the drawable and the bone of the skeleton. So what we're gonna do, we're just going to make our own door real quick. Just gonna add a new cube or whatever. I'm just gonna move it to the side by 1, and then I'm just gonna scale it down on the Y. And then maybe scale this down, or move it a bit. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to delete the bound box and delete the drawable model from our default vanilla door. Then we can just go ahead and rename this to like tutorial door. Rename our skeleton to tutorial door.scale. Rename our bone to tutorial door. Then with our cube, we're just going to add a default shader like we did in the previous video. And then we're just going to add a basic texture just so it works in the game. I'm just going to UV unwrap it real quick. Actually, I'm gonna first make sure you apply all transforms like this. And then just go ahead and UV unwrap it. Then you need to pay attention to the object origin. See here, there's this little orange dot. This is where it's like pivots around. Let's say, for example, your object origin was over here. You can do this with machine tools. I'm going to set the object origin to the edge. And you'll see now it pivots from this side. We're just going to set the object origin to the cursor, which is the 3D cursor, this red and white circle. With machine tools, to enable the cursor and origin tools, what we're going to do is go to Edit Preferences, search Machine Tools. This is a free add-on that you can find on GitHub. And then down here at the bottom under Pie menus, turn on Cursor and Origin Pie. And then it's, I think, Shift S to open it. Then with our cube, we're just going to rename this to door. Then with it selected, convert to drawable. And then drag our drawable model and shift, while holding shift, drag it onto tutorial door. We can just delete this empty. And then select our mesh, go to the object constraints, add constraint, and add a child of constraint. And then set it to our drawable, which is tutorial door, and then set it to our bone. Additionally, you can expand this where it says Sollumz and click set correct space for bone parenting. Then what we're going to do is duplicate our mesh or our door model. We're just going to rename this to door.call. We can go ahead and remove the constraint on the duplicated one. Then we can go ahead and change this to bound box. Make sure you can do, I'll teach you 2 different ways of doing the collision. This one, you can just go ahead and make it a bound box like this. And then you can change the inertia just to 1 for each. Ignore the other 2, the shape and physics, you can ignore that. This is one way of doing the collisions, but the more popular and more easy way of doing it, we're just going to delete this, but what we're going to do is duplicate the drawable geometry, rename it again. This time we're going to clear the parent and remove the constraint. But this time we're going to press V and convert to composite. And then we're going to shift and parent it to our tutorial door. Then make sure we select a BVH and apply the default flag preset. And then select our poly mesh and go ahead and put a collision material on it. We're just going to use the wood solid large. Then with our door.call, which is our bound composite selected, change the inertia to 1, and then same for the BVH. This is the second method of doing the collisions. Then we can go ahead and just create a archetype definition. And then auto create. I'm just going to paste in the texture dictionary so it's embedded. And then for the special attribute for a swinging door, you need to use the special attribute of 7. And then for the flags, we're going to use dynamic and enable special attribute. And then you can just go ahead and export.